I'm so human. Bear with me. We're going to dive right into it. I'm struggling today. Cut me just a little bit of slack. Sucks ebbing and flowing, but therefore, kind of spoiler alert, diving into the very message, the essence of today's episode. And gosh dang it, if I fail you, it's going to weigh on me. Because we got to more effectively sound the alarm regarding our health. Okay, come on, stream. Looks as though we're good. So let's not mess around. Welcome to a muzzled chat. Let's switch things up and go ahead and start with playing this very clip. Powerful stuff.
The medical system isn't broken. It's working perfectly to create customers, not cures. A former priest exposed this with data so damning, the medical establishment has been attacking him for 50 years. Ivan Illich, medical nemesis, 1976. He showed that medicine itself had become a disease. He called it iatrogenesis, illness caused by medical treatment. Here's some evidence. Doctor strikes reduce death rates every time. 1976, Los Angeles. Doctors strike, death rate drops by 18%. 1973, Israel. Doctors strike for a month, death rate hits all-time low. 1976, Colombia. Doctors strike, death rate drops 35%. When doctors stop working, fewer people die. America spends $4.5 trillion on healthcare, more than any nation ever. The result? We rank 46th in life expectancy. Countries spending 90% less live longer. Cuba has lower infant mortality than America. Johns Hopkins study found medical error kills 250,000 Americans yearly, 685 people every day. Like a fully loaded 747 crashing daily. The medical system kills more Americans than World War II did. And here's what Illich saw coming. We've medicalized existence itself. Shyness became social anxiety disorder. Treat it with drugs. Grief became major depression. Treat it with drugs. Active kids became ADHD. Give them amphetamines. In 1950, the DSM had 106 mental disorders. Today, 297. Did humans suddenly become 200% more mentally ill? Or did Big Pharma simply need new markets for shareholders? Illich wrote, the medical establishment has become the major threat to health. Not a threat, the threat. America takes 80% of the world's opioids. We are 5% of Earth's population. Either Americans have 16 times more pain than everyone else, or we're being drugged for profit.
Wow. Powerful stuff. Why do this? Why continually show up here day after day? Nearing 400 episodes even. What set me on this very path? Folks, it took none other than to be bedridden myself, as though my very life force was being drained out of my body right before my eyes. I'll be honest, there were many times I did not think I was going to pull through, that I wasn't going to make it. And frankly, we are never quite out of the woods in this life, are we? I attribute solely to God to still being here today. So yes, this experience, this sheer hell on earth struck me so incredibly deeply. I have to show up. I must do more with my life to serve you, serve others, help others, warn others. Cannot say at this point I haven't done just that, or at least that I've tried. So come to find out, yay, I have a bioweapon, a man-made, crafted, biological weapon in my body. What does this mean? This is not natural. It was created with the intent to maim. Called Lyme disease. After learning more, than I even originally intended, or I could have even imagined. Lo and behold, it exposed this enormous, absolutely enormous, and incredibly dark spider web that leads and connects to all sorts of corruption, exposing just how rooted it is and how it's impacting every aspect to the very life we live today, the world we live in today. This is directly implicating our government, all its agencies, the banking industry, their owners, their debt systems, slavery and control that is hard to even wrap your head around, I'll admit. Our healthcare, its whole infrastructure being corrupted, and there's so much of that spider web we could continue in this very episode to connect, but we've done that. It's there, present in all of the episodes, all the energy, all the efforts. We have been suppressed to a magnitude it's hard to even see and acknowledge in and of itself. But it's entirely stifled true growth. We mind-numbingly are going to these idols and celebratorial figures in our world. I had hopes and dreams with this that I could help magnify your voice, that our voices mattered to each other more than these idols. But it is clear we are under a time where idol worship is running rampant. I digress. Let's go ahead and play this other clip before diving into some more of this information.
The medical...
We've played it before. We're going to play it again. Please hear it as though you're hearing it for the first time. Yet again, let's let it sink in on levels it never really has before.
Now, the world today has 6.8 billion people. That's headed up to about 9 billion. Now, if we do a really great job on new vaccines, healthcare, reproductive health services, we could lower that by perhaps 10 or 15%.
Well, common sense would tell you if you have a man standing in front of you saying he's going to reduce the world's population by 10 or 15% using vaccines, what does that mean to you? It means somebody's going to die because you put a vaccine in them. It doesn't mean you're going to save people. That's pretty much common sense in my brain.
100%. I don't know what to queue up, but I don't like sitting here sometimes in my lonesome. You know what? We won't queue up anything for this bout. The fact that this man, Bill Gates, is still walking free among us shows us how sick we individually have become, collectively, as a whole, as a country, or as the whole freaking world. How is some, like, Vladimir Putin, come get this guy. Have your own tribunals. This is a world threat through health services and vaccinations. Unbelievable. The fact a foreign leader hasn't even taken that threat just goes to show how vast that spider web, in fact, is. The fact that this man has had multiple dinners chats with our current sitting president this term. And pardon my speech, we're going to touch on some of the deeper issues within me, hopefully highlighting, because I want to sound the alarm that you don't end up in this position I'm in, neurological issues. So please sit tight, share this. I keep saying to the moon. Frankly, it's only leading to more and more disappointment. Frankly, my patience, my strength is waning in this arena. I don't know a more impactful, more important place to magnify than here. But we're failing in this arena. So Bill Gates himself has sat and had multiple chats with Donald Trump this term on multiple occasions. Shows us what? Tells us what? Teaches us what? That this government is behind this dang issue itself. This very threat itself. The fact that you hear this threat loud and clear, and his own admission to deceptive murder, talking about mass genocide, lowering the world population by 10 or 15% is not an insignificant amount, even if it was one death that he was calling out for. But lowering the world population by 10 or 15% through the deceptive tactics of health services and vaccinations, this was pre-pandemic. We saw his position throughout the whole pandemic and where he is at still to this day. Yet, we do nothing. What in the fuck is wrong with us? And I apologize using vulgar language. But seriously, what is wrong with us? We have sounded the alarm on this for years now. And here, yet, is another chance to do something in simply forwarding this. The link is right below if you don't want my 4-letter word included. But we're going to allow that out of fear. Oh, people are going to think a certain way because you are forwarding. We are so far past that. What is wrong with us? You simply have another opportunity in forwarding this to everyone you know. Will you take that opportunity? Fact, they have been accomplishing what he just talked about right there faster than we can even properly account for the deaths, for the suffering. It's like we have scientists and doctors frantically trying to gather the information so we can even properly absorb it to gain the proper protections, solutions, cures, and put a stop. But the world we live in, the evil, the Bill Gates character, once again, sitting with our president on multiple occasions this term, is telling us what? They're gaining more funding, more momentum to continue that type of work, which is furthering what? The deterioration of our very country. We are the sickest country in the world. We're acting as though we're going to be immune to these tactics. That is utter delusion. Fact, this has already killed millions and millions of us. Real people worldwide and counting. We are not cattle to be slaughtered. More importantly, why are we acting like cattle? In fact, they are rolling out more covert methods than shots in arms. In fact, the more covert they become, the harder they will be to address. Mainly due to the fact it will be harder and harder to even recognize, acknowledge at all. Do we need to dissect this warning any further? This specific example. Are there any possible combinations of words that would light the proper fire among us? How about we shift gears here? I hope this will help shine the light on the importance. It was incredibly painful for me to go here and listen to that last episode, but it taught me a lot. I was just trying to get through my notes, tripping up over my own words. I am not completely delusional, you know? I know I am not some amazing gift to you all, presenting here in this chair perfectly. For frick's sakes, I even struggle to read my own notes. Thanks, Lime. Or should I say thanks to our own tax dollars. Thanks to all of us for funding our government, that funded the military, that funded the biological weapons facilities. Lime came from Plum Island, right off the coast of Lime, Connecticut. And we got Fort Detrick. We got so many bioweapons labs right here. We're funding ones all over the world. In Ukraine, Wuhan, China. There are so many that we don't even know that exist. So, is raw, is defective as I'm showing up here and tripping up over even words like defective. The truth is the dang truth. In fact, not enough of us are doing this because once again, we're acting like cattle to this day. We're just getting sicker. As I'm speaking to you now, there are more covert methods being rolled out as we speak. Let it be known, I do not want fame. I don't even want my voice out there. I can't stand listening to my own voice. I don't want my name to be known. No one has been paying me. This has cost more than simply dumping my own funds into this endless pit. All for what? Let's really hone in on that. For what? Loss of friendships? Tensionous moments among family? Just you name it. To paint a freaking target on my back? To be unmuzzled, stand truth for truth, try to even, with all my character flaws, explain my testimony of this amazing book right here. The only true roadmap given. But we're not fervently seeking this, so I'm trying to express trying to paint the picture as to why. Even with the target, I would not trade this experience. Excuse me, that was a sharp S. At least it wasn't my headset. Hope it wasn't as sharp for you. I wouldn't trade this and all the lessons learned for the world. I wouldn't. There have been many blessings to this journey, but the biggest of them all has been this desire, this fire that got lit within myself to really know and seek our loving Creator. We have a loving Creator. Darwin's theory, are you kidding me? What a crock of shit. Okay? So much of this world and the society we live in, we are pumped with lies and propaganda our whole existence. I'm so grateful. And we can show up with these flaws. Because when we really understand Jesus Christ, the real sacrifice he made. And I can't wait to wrap this up, to go walk in the wilderness right here today. And just, sure, the world would paint me out to be a loon, but I'm just going to have an real expression, real conversation, and just seek that deeper and deeper. And I am grateful for that fire. Let's get back on track. Do you even know what it is like to have brain function poof gone, just stolen from you? You know what that's like? Maintaining a level of function just enough to be able to acknowledge what you have lost, only to have fleeting moments of access or a sad level of access to our formal self. Can you fathom knowing you are handicapped now in a way? You can barely taste some of your own memories, but for your own here it is playing out real life before you. But your former level of function overall is just constantly out of reach. Life in a way becomes a total blur. And I would not wish this on anyone. You can only imagine how much harder every other aspect to life, how much harder it becomes. Not even going to dive into the skin issues, the actual body aches, the pains, all these other symptoms. Hundreds of them. All immune related. Doctors have sequenced the actual DNA to that bioweapon Lyme and talk about how well it was crafted. Its sequencing is in the hundreds. Our basic colds and flus are only in like 10 or 20 sequence. We can't even imagine as to how refined it has become now. Got something in my eye. This is going to bug the crap out of me. Well, bring it on. Another challenge. Let me ask you this. Where do you think we're heading? Individually, as a people, as a country, as a world? Do you really think you are going to be able to fend off all these direct attacks to you and your family? Do you really think you are completely immune to them all? This is an incredibly vast campaign. There are many campaigns to manipulate the masses, suppress, distract us all, even through the financial systems and the strains and the pressure and financial ruin. The invasion of our country to dilute our way of life. This very plot, I mean, there's many of these we could dive into, but we want to stay health-minded in this episode. This very plot attacking your genetics, your ability to think, function, even getting passed down to our children. I believe more of us are about to find out as all our health continues to decline. It's happening. There hasn't been a shift. Oh, you want to praise Trump, the one that's sitting with the Bill Gates character and Pfizer and AstraZeneca? Golly, really? Just because our RFK said some things near and dear to our heart prior to them getting in this position. They've been through the embarrassing rituals and everything, and they're clearly bending the knee to their God. And it's not our God, because Trump also recently stated there's nothing he can do that he thinks he could do that would get himself in heaven. It's so clear. God, give me the function to get through this episode. I'm really tripping up. Your will be done. We need you. We are not properly addressing any of the real threats. All I can say is that I promise you, you will wish you fought when you had the ability to properly fight. You will wish you absorbed the warnings that were given to you, and at a minimum, emboldened the warriors willing to paint the targets on their backs, sounding the alarm and furthering their cause. And luckily, there are many out there. But it is becoming harder and harder for them to exist without your support, because they are being suppressed. Most of them are even being bought out at this point because they haven't gained enough support from people. That's the one thing about being unmuzzled, like unpurchasable. But it's got to be a grassroots to stay that. Fact, it is just like our freedoms. It is far easier to fight for the freedoms, for our function in this case, that you still have, than to fight for the ones you've lost and gain them back. We're just going over facts here, folks. Personally, I could care less about this next part that I'm about to say, because it has a way of, this isn't some freaking cute cat video. Guys, click, share, do the thing. I'm talking about your health, securing our future. But it is disgusting. I could care less about it. But it's how we get more organized. It's how we have a bigger impact. It's how we create a proper solution from us, for us. No one else in these power positions are ending up on our side simply because there is more pressure coming from the evil side than we are providing as a people. So I'm talking to everyone, and this means you. If I cannot get folks to smash a stupid little like button with a message like this, if this doesn't get comments going, most importantly, if this doesn't get folks to follow and share this episode, then it's clear to me we simply are too far gone. I sure hope not. These are not my opinions, folks. I'm not making this up. I am not guessing. I'm not trying to be rude or offensive here. The facts are simply the facts. The truth. The truth. The writing is on the wall for all those with eyes to see. Heck, for the blind, truly individuals that cannot see, that are blind. The soundtrack is out for all those with ears to hear. Let's play one last clip here. Well, 2 clips. I apologize. Frick, I'm so human.
New York Times just exposed the corruption of the US healthcare economy, and I don't even think they realized it. They just published an article showing which industries employ the most Americans state by state. What's wild is this side-by-side comparison. In 1990, the map was filled with manufacturing, retail, hospitality, and public sector jobs. Sure, obesity, diabetes, fatty liver, and cancer existed then, but they were nowhere near today's levels. Fast forward to today, and the entire country is blanketed in one color: healthcare. Hospitals, insurance giants, nursing homes, and outpatient clinics. Nearly every state's top employer is now in the sickness business. And since 1990, diabetes has doubled from 17 to 14%. Obesity has tripled from 11 to over 40%. Non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, colorectal cancer in young adults, and myocarditis were once rare, now they're exploding, and 6 in 10 adults now have one chronic disease, with 4 in 10 living with 2 or more. Big pharma, big food, and a broken medical system created the perfect loop. Feed the people poison, get them sick, sell them the treatment with side effects, sell them more treatments to manage those side effects, hire more workers to manage the chaos, and call it economic growth. I don't know if this article was satire or pharmaceutical brainwash, but if you ask me, it's clear. We're not fixing the health crisis. We've just built our economy around it. New York Times.
The sheer level of deterioration in this country and across the world, we can't even properly absorb. We can't fathom anymore, folks. For frick sakes. Look at this. 2025. And people are still queuing up for COVID shots. I refuse to believe this in the sense that some people cannot and will not be saved, as though it is not worth our energy. And we're going to touch on some points here. Look at the line.
This is everyone queuing for the COVID vaccine.
Look at this. Enough. Gosh dang. Why are we not educating the masses? You think, in fact, you are protected from others' decisions as though it will not impact your life? How about this? For consideration, they built out concentration camps right here in America during the scam pandemic. You can research that one for yourself. What were they built out to house? The unvaccinated. And they would have used them if they had slightly more people brainwashed, falling for their lie. They 100% wanted to put the unvaccinated in them. And they would have if they could have. Hence, the importance of informing others with the truth. Once again, on another note, don't you understand that these bioweapon shots do not solely affect those that get them? Don't you know anything about the spike protein and how it sheds? And other types of shedding? That is a very real threat. You don't think for a second the billions, trillions worldwide annually they're putting in towards this level of covert weaponry goes way beyond some spike protein. I get that people would want to pose the questions. Well, why would they do something that could impact like themselves? And yeah, great questions and all, but do not excuse the excuses. Do not take away from the truth. Okay? You got to understand a few aspects to, yes, that important question. They don't even associate among our civilization. They have their own everything built out. So just on sheer impact direct contact. They have like their own society. And they've built out ours. And they control ours. So that's one level of protection. And I don't believe that they're going to be willing to roll things out that they themselves don't have the cure for. I mean, just think about it. There's been so many doctors that have come out with cures to cancer, so many other things. There are ones actively treating it at a higher success rating than chemo. But it's not even the mainstream. I'm gonna lose it. Once again, do not end up like me. I'm showing up with all my flaws, trying to who cares what the world thinks? Embarrassing, humiliation. I frankly could care less. Let this be an example to the world of how important. I should have showed up and just had people held the camera over me while I was in bed trying to talk, drooling. It's like, you know how hard it is to continue? It's just white knuckled. This is what it is. When things get really bad, you start living day by day. When things get really, really bad, you start living hour by hour. When things get really, really, really bad, you live by the minute. And when things get pretty much at an unlivable degree, you live second by second. And that is hell. Being trapped in the body, not even lacking the ability to articulate your thoughts. Like you could kind of gather them in your brain, but to now spew them, whole other level of function than you experience. I can't even really bring the points home. I appreciate you willing to sit here and watch me trip up. I do not wish this on anyone. I'm grateful for the level I've gained back. I'm nowhere near 100%. Nowhere near it. So I'm fighting fervently to get there. But it is easier to fight for the function you haven't lost than to gain it back. And it's clear. This is a decreed biological weapon by so many countries, even right here among so many institutions in our own country, yet it's still on this shelf. Tells you what? So if you really don't care about other people's lives, personally, I find that disgusting. But why not educate others to protect your own? You prick. Why? I do not want you to experience this hell on earth that is coming for all of us. I have been there. We are already accepting the unacceptable on so many levels. But when it comes to our own health, we should be drawing that line in the sand. And many years ago. Biblical challenges for the day, folks. Life. Life comes from God. Genesis 2:7. God carefully creates each person. Psalm 139, 13 through 14. Life should be enjoyed. I can't even pronounce that one. 9-9. Another moment, folks. God plans the lives of people before they are born. Jeremiah 1:5. Yeah, give that one to My Body, My Choicers. Unbelievable, this world we live in. Let's find life. We must maintain it. People must. This is John 3:3. People must be reborn spiritually to enter heaven. John 10:10, Jesus came to give abundant life. Ephesians 4:1, we should live lives worthy of our Christian calling. Philippians 1:21, Christ is the reason for life. Colossians 3:17, our lives should honor God. Amen to all of that. Could God potentially give us the protections? Yes, I do believe so, and it is promised. However, I also do believe that how's this read? I think I already want to word it differently. It's like it takes a level another moment, folks. Do I believe we are seeking him enough to fend off these threats on a personal level? Honestly, for most of us, I do not believe we are. It's like, in a way, in another angle, or putting it differently, it's like as the devil ramps up his attacks, if we turn a blind eye to those attacks, it leaves us lacking a proper balance to that scale, seeking more closeness here. So it does take a level of acknowledgement to seek God and the proper protections on the lengths evil's going. Golly, am I just insane? Am I just alone on screaming in the microphone, not even making freaking sense? It sure feels that at times. At this time, though, folks, I am over plugging our affiliations. If you care to see a Muzzle Chat continue this work, it's not even consider a donation. This last bout, none. Not a cent. Not a cent's come through. How's that for transparency? Not $1. Yeah, if something doesn't change here, this is ending very soon. People continuously show up to their pastors that are twisting God's word. Support Israel, God's chosen people. You can't, as a Christian, I'm sorry, there is no chosen blood lineage, and be able to properly fulfill that very label of what Christianity even means. It doesn't exist. But people are showing up to those churches, opening their wallet as though that's the true blessing. If it's not me, folks, because this is what it is. We would be more blessed to have open eyes in our daily lives to those around us that need it. Take the time. Actually get out of your vehicle to that person on the corner holding the sign. Get to know them. If they seem like a drug user and that's where it's going to go to, then yeah, I would say don't hand them money. Support that, no. But not even those at that level, right? There are many among us that we could be more mindful in our tithes, that would actually be more pleasing in God's eyes than just pumping money into these corrupted mega churches, taking the Lord's name in vain. So if there is a next time, with great love, take care.